Hello, viewers, and welcome back to yet another episode of QTube. And today we are joined by the dynamic duo, Zach Benson and Gregory Dillon, who have a brand new song out called Mischief. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hello.
Zach, I'm so proud of that choreography that we just made up on the spot.
I'm not sure everybody could see the choreography. You may have to do a replay.
Wait, how? Okay, yes. How do we do a replay? Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1.
Work it, Hunty. Work it, Slay. You have owned everything.
Every day, every night, every way.
And that was our audition tape for Dancing with the Stars.
That's fantastic.
Oh, man, I liked our other one better, but that was still good.
I'm glad.
So, guys, brand new single. This has kind of been a bit of a, I mean, for folks who are watching who are fans, won't be surprised by this. For folks who are watching and who are unfamiliar with you or just kind of getting to know who you are through your music, they may be surprised by this, but this has been a bit of a long time coming because you guys have been around one another and you guys have been talking and stuff like that. So it's nice to finally have something out into the streamverse with both of you on it, and it's such a fun song.
I'm so glad that you like it.
Ooh, we bad.
Ooh, we bad, baby. We causing mischief. Yeah, Greg and I have been working on this song since like January, and we've known each other since like November, October of 2019.
I'm so bad with dates, but I'm trying to think, where was the first time we met? Was it at that hookah bar?
Yeah, it was me, you, your friend Charlie, Vardon, and Manny, aka Gavin. We were all at this hookah bar in New York.
I was big into hookah in college, but I had not done hookah since. So,
well, Vardon was like, we should all go to this hookah bar, and me being this like 4-year-old was like, I've never done that before.
That's a pretty mischievous thing for you.
Yeah.
Okay, Penny, let me just say, I have tried to pull out all of the bad qualities of Zach, like mischievous, and there's just like literally none. You're like major innocent.
She's a goody two-shoes. She does not break the law.
I'm trying to push that. We'll see.
So, and you mentioned Gavin, who was with us on the last kind of talk, and Vardan. You mean Vardan Aurora, right?
Yeah.
Just like a motley crew. That's really cool. I mean, that's really interesting to hear, you know, artists kind of getting together and doing their own kind of thing and going to hookah bars. There are worse places you could go to. But, you know, it's interesting. I don't think people, I don't know if anyone who follows music, especially, you know, the music that we're kind of always pushing out, would ever think that, you know, artists do this, but it makes so much sense that you guys are all in the same place. You're all kind of, you know, working together and collaborating and stuff like that. Of course you're going to go out together. But I don't think people really think that sometimes.
Yeah, true life. Especially when I first moved to New York, I was just so like gung-ho on trying to make friends that I was like, Greg, please hang out with me. And like, Vardon, please hang out with me. And like, Kisos is there too. And I was like, Kisos, please. So like, when I first moved there, I was literally just like, everyone please be my friend. And I was trying to force everyone to like, we went to like thrift shops together and like got food. And that was just my way of making friends, honestly.
We love digging.
We love digging.
That's like kind of me and you and Yavin's like new go-to spot. Well, we haven't been back. It's been close.
I know. Shout out to how can
one of these days, Kenny, you'll come and we'll have a dig-in, sit down.
I'm all for it. I'm very excited to dig in NYC with all the Mischief boys.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, the song. Let's talk the song. Let's talk about who came up with the idea for the song? How did the whole writing process start? Who's, you know, like how did you lay it all down? How did it all come together? Give us the whole, you know, origin story of this superpower super story.
We have the receipts. Zach, I feel like you brought out that text message and I totally forgot about that, which is kind of like.
Yeah, it was like, oh wait, you froze on me. No. Wait, say it one more time.
I was just going to say that I totally forgot about the origin story of the track until I saw in your Instagram story you posted a screenshot of our text message writing session like the week before.
Yeah. So like Greg and I were gonna write a song together after we had hung out a few times, and I was like, please hang out with me again, just like me trying to make friends. And I remember like texting you to confirm on the day, being like, hey, are we gonna do this? And you were like, hell yeah, we're gonna do this. And then I said, boom, magic, mischief, mayhem, let's get into it. And you said, Mischief is a great title of a song. And I was like, deal, let's just run with it. And then when we went in on that day to write just like anything, I was like, do you want to still go with the Mischief idea? And you were like, hell yeah, I do. So that was kind of the origin story. And then from there, we sort of talked about what Mischief like meant to us. And I remember you saying specifically that it reminded you of like sneaking out in high school and going to like college parties and like being out with your friends in like a late night. And
Yes.
the imagery that you had of like going through the tunnel and like seeing like a party happening or something, like I think that was what sort of clicked in my mind, and then we sort of went back and forth from there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember that writing session was so much fun, so mischievous. I'm pretty sure like I was listening back to some of the voice memos and we were writing those melodies so fast. I think we kind of locked in what we wanted like within like an hour or two. And then I think we took like a food break. I have a voice memo that I didn't mean to hit or I probably didn't realize. I let keep recording and it's just us for like 40 minutes just snacking on the Tostito chips and not actually getting any work done.
No.
But I feel like that's our like that's a good writing session is when you like can bust out the melody really fast and you're like snack break, we're done.
Speaking of the melody break, it's it's our melody break. The melody, not the break.
Technology.
The so the standout from the song for me is the expression "feeling so good when we're playing bad," and it just sounds like two bad little kids just getting out there and getting into a lot of stuff. But that melody, it's got a lot of different. It reminds me of a number of different eras, and it's kind of hard to pinpoint, but it sounds like it's such a familiar kind of melody. Like it brings back a nostalgia. And yeah, it just gets in there and it's an earworm like nobody's business.
Well, thank you. That's very nice.
I feel like me and Zach definitely have similar childhoods, like in some kind of suburban sense. And when we were kind of just talking about lyrics and the melody, like I try to pretend that I'm bad, and Zach doesn't even try, but I feel like we're both really good kids. Like, I've never been in detention before, but I think we both felt like growing up there was some kind of punk side to both of us, which was a little bit rebellious, and I think that's my favorite part about this track is, like, we're pretty harmless despite trying to be deviant, and I think that brings a lot of, familiarity with kids that maybe, are shy or not in the cool clique, but like still have that kind of rebel cause. So
yeah, and I think a lot of the lyrics sort of mirror that too, where like the first and second verse sort of mirror that, like, I gotta puff my chest, I never was the type to run around. Like, it's very much like you are like being led by someone who's maybe a little bit more like extroverted or experienced than you are, but it's still this like exciting new like sense of individualism and like rebellion. So we really tapped into that for that one.
What I like and I love about the fact that the two of you doing a collaboration is that, and this is not a critique or a negative critique on anything, it is just kind of part of the world, that a lot of what the world sees from gay men, queer men, is two sides. And it typically is either, a stereotype, a flamboyancy of some sort, or it's the other side and it's the, Instagram model, Speedo, or, you know, bare chested, like the built kind of guy. Like there seems to be two areas, and then there's everybody else that's in between. And what this shows, like as a collaboration, I feel like I need a video. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I feel like I really need a video for this song, because it's just that playful mentality of the boy next door, the guys who are just being boys, that doesn't get seen very often. And I think that it's just from the song itself, it's a great celebration of just a different bromance that people don't see. And they
have a bromance.
Such a bromance. It happens.
Totally, right? Like it is. It's like, you know, and I appreciate that, because nobody likes to see, you know, two, you know, boxes that, you know, an entire community gets put into. And it's just great to hear it, and great, you know, like I said, I need a video. From a visual perspective, for young guys to be able to see young guys being young guys. It just happens to be that their sexuality is different. And I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I'm glad.
I appreciate it. It's helpful. I feel like, yeah, growing up, like I was in a very bro boy neighborhood where I did not fit, and they were a bunch of little mischievous boys, and I could never really feel comfortable in that group. It was just like nightmare status. But it's so nice to have this track, because it definitely makes me kind of relive some boyhood qualities I wish I had put forward more.
Yeah, ditto on that one. I was probably in the same state of like all my guy friends were just super straight and like very just like, we're gonna go talk to girls and all that. And I was just in the back like, okay. So like, yeah, just your sentiments exactly.
I think it's and this is a weird word to say. It's kind of precious in a sense where, you know, masculinity and that idea of boyhood and that idea of, you know, boy rebels has such, you know, kind of old style, old school mentality and visuals attached to it. And in a world, you know, where we talk about toxic masculinity and we talk about, you know, men being able to be, you know, find themselves and that kind of thing, and having the duality of both masculine and feminine, you know, qualities and what that really means. I think for young guys who are growing up, both whether they're homosexual or heterosexual, whether they're part of the queer community or not, I think it's great for them to see and know that there's different types of relationships that men have together that, you know, that guys have. So I think that is, you know, showing something very, very different that I think a lot of young guys would be very happy to see and very relatable, because I know that just some of like the nephews and all that kind of stuff, when they're around their friends, they're very different these days, but they don't often get the world telling them that they're okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm so thankful for my friendship with Zach. It's rare that you get, you know, certain people in your life where you don't even have to think about how you're acting or your sexuality. And that's also a part of this for me. Like, as much as it's a representation of like maybe sides of myself and sexuality, all of that kind of in this corner, I look back to like childhood and I think about times where I wasn't even thinking about that. You just feel free from like all of those kinds of concerns. Like you're just living your like more playful, innocent life. And it's nice to have friendships that kind of make you not worry so much or think about like any of the categories. And you're just literally being like I'm a child with you, Zach.
Aw, love you lots, Greg. I feel the exact same way. That made me smile. Aw.
Where's my Pokemon cards? Let me bust them out.
But so the song is great, and it brings to mind. I've already mentioned I kind of need a video. I'm no pressure. I know that you guys in the United States, in New York City, and lockdown is crazy happening across the United States. So it's not super easy. Although Greg seems to be able to do it in any way, shape, or form, even with Barbies. It's crazy. but hopefully you will get a chance and maybe you'll be able to film something, but that would be cool.
Penny, have you seen the lyric video yet? I was pretty impressed how that came out, Zach. You edited that so well.
Thank you. My computer was so slow, and I was trying to edit this lyric video like the week that it was about to go up, and I like my computer was just being like the worst ever. So it was a, I don't want to say awful experience, but it was an experience that was not pleasant. So I'm glad it turned out well.
And it's good. It's great to have a visual to it, right?
Yeah.
But I just get this Saved by the Bell 90210. I'm not sure what kind of idea in my head, or maybe it's just kind of like just a weekend, boys kind of getaway kind of thing. I'm not sure what it is, but I've got something in my head. I'll send you a treatment.
The like 10th person to say Saved by the Bell with this song, which I'm like obsessed with.
Everyone, that I talk to says that. Saved by the Bell and what's the other one? Breakfast Club and yeah.
Who gets to be AC Slater?
We'll let everyone else decide that.
So I mean,
Not me.
What was that?
Not me. I can't. Zach, you take it.
Fine. Hello, it's me, AC.
Well, maybe it's Zach and Screech on the hunt for their third-party AC Slater. Maybe that's what it's all about. In which case, I'm not sure who gets to be Screech.
It's Yavin.
There you go. There you go. You guys can be like Kelly Kapowski and whatever her name was.
Oh my God, deal.
But so, I mean, with such like great chemistry and great sound on the song, do you think you'll do more together? And again, no pressure or anything like that. But I could see just like an instant kind of easy way for you to do more. But I'm just curious, when you do one song together, it's kind of like, yeah, we collabed. But do you really want to do more? It's like, would you go on and do more? Or is it kind of like, yeah, this really, really worked. Let's do a few more things.
I'm super one and done. I'll probably never talk to you at the end of this meeting.
I think I agree. I think delete my number and block me from everything because it's over. So.
Who are you again?
I don't know. That's a complete lie. Greg and I actually have a 20-song album coming out next week. So get excited.
I'm mastered. I'm mixed. No, I feel like me and Zach have definitely. It's nice when you have a lot of similar like ideals and like personality overlap. I don't know what our next project would be, but our goal is definitely to get back into writing. We've both been super busy, so this summer has been for me at least kind of just like turning out this album, and I haven't really had any kind of what's after that. It's kind of just like tunnel vision for me at the moment. But the thing that I'm missing right now so much is writing sessions. I haven't had one in a couple months just for being so focused, and those are the most rejuvenating part of my life. So get over here. I mean, Zach, I'm literally counting down the days. You come in like what, 9 days?
I'm back in like 2 weeks. So as soon as I'm there, I'm on my way to your apartment first.
Yow!
Deal. I'm kind of in the same place as Greg, where I have like a few songs on the back burner that have been on the back burner for a hot second. So I'm like, let's get those done. And then after that, like, please, 20-song album, it's coming out. So
you have, Zach, you're, and anybody again who's watching this who may not know, you are busy. You are doing your own stuff, and your collaborations are coming hot and fast and furious a lot. You are working with a lot of different people, and I'm curious from your, it's a weird way to ask this, but is that I want to work with those people? Or do you have a lot of people coming to you kind of saying, hey, I'd really like you to work? Because I know you just produced Harry Taylor's recent single. And I know that you've been writing with different people. But how much of it is you kind of foot soldiering and saying, hey, you'd be a really cool person to work with, we should collab? And how much of it is people recognizing the Zach Benson, a bit of that magic, that, that sound that they're really drawn to and coming to you?
First of all, thanks for the magic. The magic comment. She's magical and mischievous today. I would say It depends on the situation. I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, I like your music. Let's try to do something together," and it ends up working out, which is always great. And there have been a few times, like literally working with Greg, where I was like, "Greg, please!" Like, I think the theme is
it was
me
mutual.
talking. I mean, the feeling was mutual, but I was the one being like, "Hello." The knocking is just going to be the theme of the episode. But I would say it's pretty like half and half in terms of who I want to reach out to, and then like people who are coming up to me, which feels really good because whenever you get someone being like, "I like your stuff, let's try to work on something together," that's just like nice little validation. So,
And I mean, Greg, on the other side for you, you just put out Plastic Ferrari, and that was like 2.5 weeks ago, and now Mischief is out, which is, it's a lot to have out at once. And how do you find the balance of that? Like, kind of, you have your own single out by yourself, and then a single out with Zach, and there's a lot of Gregory to go around right now.
I'm about to have a hemorrhoid. I need to. Literally though, like it is. I signed up for a hefty summer release schedule. I don't think I feel like I can break the news that I have a new single coming out in a couple of weeks again, and then a couple of weeks after that. I mean, it's just like I signed up for madness, and this is the first time I've released this much all at once. But I feel like you have like this kind of. I mean, I'm a Virgo. Like my bar is set super high, and I think just during the ride, you just kind of readjust week by week, like how much can I actually handle as this project goes on. And I don't know. I'm just trying to breathe. I did a meditation this morning, so that was good.
Zach, the same for you. Like, do you find that balance hard when you have multiple things out there, which has happened to you on like a number of occasions?
Yeah, probably not as much as Greg, because like when Mischief came out, I was like, "Greg, how you feeling?" And you were like, "Girl," you were stressed. And I was like, "It's okay, we'll figure this out." But I'm feeling okay so far. I mean, I'm doing like a 9 to 5 like full-time thing as well, so that has been a challenge in terms of like finding motivation to go and like try to produce something or try to mix something or try to write something like with after doing like an 8-hour workday. But overall, I think I'm doing pretty okay. Maybe.
Good for you, Glenn Coco.
You fellas are you're busy. You're very busy, and it's noticeable. So I often wonder that, because just like you just said, you're also doing a 9 to 5 kind of thing, which I think people forget about. I had this conversation yesterday with a friend of mine where I was talking about how I have to adjust my day, because although we're only an hour in the difference, so that's wonderful, to be able to catch people. But then if I want to talk to somebody in the UK, and I'm thinking, of yourselves as well, if you want to work with somebody in the UK, they are 4 or 5 hours for you ahead. And then if you want to talk or work with somebody on the West Coast, for me, they're 4 hours behind. They're 3 hours like that. The time zones online is great to be able to work, but like, wow. And you're busy and you're working, and it's like you're trying to balance all that. So it's a lot, but you seem to be having so much fun with it, the both of you, that, I think that people forget that there's all this other stuff that has to go along with it when you're trying to pull this madness together.
Yeah, we had plenty a FaceTime and a Zoom call and a Skype session in the months prior to releasing this. So yeah, there's a lot of work going into it, but I'm glad it's out. And like the point of everything is that like I just really want to have fun making music. Like I started making music because I needed something to like keep me excited and keep me like, having a good time and not being like this lonely, isolated kid, in college. And I don't really want to lose that. So as stressful as it is at times, it is overall at the end of the day super fun. And we're making pop music. Like we're making fun, like carefree Mischief, like it's got to be fun at the end of the day.
Mhm.
It's always fun, and I think for both of you, the music that, and what I'll say is Gregory's music, his own music, tends to have a quality, like an atmospheric quality, a lot of the times with it too. Greg, I just see you as you age, like honestly, becoming one of those just so super recognizable voices, because I do think that your voice is so recognizable. You know,
The truth.
You guys are sweet. You guys are always so complimentary. I appreciate it. Yeah, um, my mom is always telling me that. She's like, I can always pick your voice out. Oh, you know what's so embarrassing though? When I was younger in the choir, like, and you get your recording back of 8th grade chorus, I could always hear myself. And I was like, ah.
Wait, literally me too. But I think it was because I was like the late bloomer of like the boys in my choir. And so everyone was like, oh, and I was like, she was a soprano. It's fine.
no guns, all
Back
voice,
mezzo.
all
Yeah.
pipes.
The truth right there.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm also really I'm really trying to push myself. I mean, this whole '80s nostalgia vibe is definitely right now the moment for me. But I'm really eager to get into house music and like melodic dance and just see how my vocals kind of fit on like some heavy four to the floor kind of thing. So I'm hoping it can transition. I appreciate the recognizableness. Um,
I think it totally can, and I mean, it's interesting. I think with a voice like yours, we often automatically think, oh, it needs to go towards more of like a ballad or something like a power kind of song. But when you talk about house and yeah, like four to the floor and that kind of thing, totally, I can completely hear that. It's just that I think that we automatically assume that you, because of the texture of your voice and the tone of your voice, you would go to a different direction. But um, Zach, as I mean, producing wise, and I'm really interested to know, because, and I've mentioned this to you before, that I think that you're one of those artists that, you know, potentially could straddle the line your whole entire career, and you may get to a point where you're kind of like, yeah, I do a song every now and then, but you spend most of your time producing other people because you really do grab hold of the music, and you understand the production side of it quite a bit. Do you prefer one or the other? And is there a production, I guess, style that you really kind of want to try out, or something you kind of want to move to that you haven't played in yet?
Yeah, 100%. In terms of liking one or the other, to me, they're just like kind of one and the same in my eyes, just because maybe it's because of like the physical space of just being on my laptop the whole time, whether it's like my own song or somebody else's. Like, I feel sort of the same sense of pride in terms of like finishing a song for someone else versus finishing
Aw,
my own songs. I mean, it's true. Like,
that's
it
nice.
it feels so cool to do both of those. So I'm excited about both of that. Um, so I don't know if I could really like pick which one I like more or which one I want to keep doing more. I'm very just like whatever comes my way, like I'll chase that. So whatever happens, happens. But in terms of the future, I want to start working with like real instrumentation more. Like, I don't know if it's just I've been back home with my parents for like most of quarantine because shout out to not being in a small apartment in New York. Like, I was just like, I'll go chill at home for a hot second. But I like really got into listening to like all the old music that I used to listen to back in like high school and college and all that. And that was a lot of like indie rock and like pop punk and just a lot of things with like real guitars and real drum sets and like stuff that's like super exciting to play live. Like bands like Two Door Cinema Club or like the 1975 and all that, like I've been reintroduced to since I've been back home. So I think trying to play more with, you know, live guitars and maybe even live drums at some point and more of that like rock sort of feel or like indie sort of feel would be cool. But until then, I'm just like still in love with any sort of like retro sounding pop music. I think Mischief sounds like a 2000s like Daft Punk song, which gets me so stoked. So that might be something too. But yeah, in the future, I definitely want to work more with like indie and guitars and all that. So
I can hear that kind of One More Time, Daft Punk kind of sound, not as heavy synthy or whatnot, but a little bit of that fun that's kind of to it. I'm all for the indie pop punk kind of sound, indie alt rock that I love. Like that's kind of my world that I love hearing and listening to. And I love it when you hear like great pop voices, great pop producers, right, move into that because they totally understand the pop world, where usually they probably had an upbringing where they were in rock and they heard a lot of that classic rock kind of thing and the influences, but then they really get the pop sound of it, and that marriage can be so good.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was growing up, my main instrument was drums, and I was like in pop punk bands and all that. And definitely being back home has brought me back into that mindset. And even when I'm producing, like the first thing I always do is like drums and trying to figure out the different pockets and like syncopations there. So
I didn't know that. I love that.
oh my gosh, I'll send you videos of like my old bands. It's embarrassing, but
We need a Mischief drumstick, like a merch.
oh my gosh, I'd be so into it.
Actually, no, sorry to just like throw this idea. We should buy a bunch of drumsticks and then like spray paint them with like cool colors.
Wait, now that I'm in my childhood bedroom, guess what I have?
We need to make.
I said we're ready. So much dust just flew off of these because I haven't touched them in years.
I will never forget. I was at a Cobra Starship concert and I got hit in the head with a drumstick. And
Wait!
I had to fight this. Well, I didn't really fight, but I was like struggling to get that drumstick from another girl who ended up with it. But I was like, damn, I wanted that drumstick.
I got hit in the head with a drumstick at an all-time low concert by their opener, the Somerset.
Ah! I saw Somerset and All Time Low. Wait, was this in Massachusetts? In like
No. Was this the tour with Hey Monday and Yellow Card on it too?
Yes.
I went to that tour.
That's so crazy.
I went to Baltimore. Oh my God, what a moment.
I think mine was in Boston. I can't remember. I'll have to ask my friend Emily, but
this is the joy of you folks living in the United States, that you get access more regularly to those kinds of bands that are coming through, because you know what, Somerset, yes please.
I love Somerset. I'm gonna listen to the Somerset right after this. Oh my God.
I can't believe that Gregory just dropped the words Cobra Starship.
It's actually kind of very mischievous in like a nice sonic relationship. I love Cobra Starship. That, and the only band I maybe could put above Cobra Starship for me was Metro Station. Like that to me changed life for the better. When I heard Shake It, I went absolutely nuts.
The deal for me was that it was 303. Like 303 was the one.
Oh, them too.
Yeah.
My first kiss, is that 303 or Cobra Starship?
That's 303 featuring Kesha. What a song. What an anthem.
Like, this is pop knowledge that needs to be just kind of almost put into like its own.
That era of like late 2000s neon like emo pop with like all those bands coming out of the MySpace era.
They're so good. Honestly, I listened back. They were really good top liners, like Melodies for Days, All Time Low, Love Drunk. Like, is such a good like melody. Like any of those bands.
Boys Like Girls.
Oh wait, that's Boys Like Girls. You're right.
Yeah.
Wait, All Time Low. Wait, what am I thinking of?
All Time Low had like Dear Maria, Count Me In, and like
okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
This is coming from like number 1 All Time Low stand back in like 8th grade. So.
This is awesome. It's just you rarely get a chance to kind of hear people go off about the influences and the bands that they kind of listen to and the things that got them excited. Bringing it back around for a second, because Zach, you do something, and Gregory, I'm going to challenge you for the future, because I think Gregory now needs to be part of it, because I don't think you were part of this last one. And if you were, I need a slap, because I typically try to keep on top of these things. So Zach, you did the second series for for queer kids. The second CD and compilation, and which is still, and I come back to this, and I think it's a fantastic vehicle, not only for the artists who are involved, but I just think it's great to have out there that kind of a compilation. So I think, Gregory, you need to create something for the next one.
You know, it's so funny. I was asked by Zach. I had to unfortunately turn it down just because I knew the deadline was like I had to get the other singles ready. But no, Zach, I definitely need to be a part of Volume 3.
No harm, no foul. You will be invited for Volume 3, so get excited.
So now, Zach, the challenge is for you, not only to put out Volume 3, but you need to do a little We Are the World kind of thing and bring a bunch of artists together and create this anthemic song for that CD, for those things, and bring those artists together. And I know you can do it. So that's the challenge. You've got about a year, right? About a year?
Yeah, about a year. You just like tapped into something in my mind. I, for some reason, have this weird fantasy of forming like maybe a one-time boy band with like Greg and Yavin and maybe like Vardon or like other people just like in it. I feel like we could just put out a single under like a boy band name. I'm pitching this idea to Greg right now.
And be Simon Cowell in the background with like
being like Nar. It's a Nar from my. That was my British accent. I hope you liked it.
You can do a whole kind of takeoff of like S Club 7, but like the New York 7, like NY 7 kind of thing like that, and just and have the New York kids kind of thing, or you know, and Yavin's near, but he can come up for the weekend. But you know, it's I think that because of that community that's coming together, and because that project I think is super. I don't think that project has gotten to the right people yet, and I'm a big fan of what you do with that project. So I think for the next one, whenever you have a date for it, I think we need to, and I say we as if I'm going to step in here right now and take over your control over your project. So, you know, the event planner in me all of a sudden is coming out. But, you know, when you have that, I think that there needs to be some ears that it needs to get to. And I think it's like, you know, whether it's GLS, GSLEN, or whatnot, but the GSAs in the United States, they need to introduce their kids to Power to the Queer Kids, because I think that is a compilation that every year they will come to expect, and it'll be so powerful for them. And yeah.
Well, I'm glad you think that way. I really love that project. It has such a special place in my heart. I think this year I was based on like just quarantine and lockdown and like the uncertainty of the world, like that got put on a back burner for me. And like, I'll admit it right now, like that release, I was like, like, I don't know. I wish I could have like put more heart and energy into it, just because like with everything going on, I was so focused on like 20 other things. And then it was just kind of like this in the back of my head sort of thing. But I don't know. I still love it so much. And I really do hope that it continues every single Pride Month to be, you know, maybe not necessarily a compilation album, but maybe like just an event where different artists like cover songs, and maybe it's like on YouTube or SoundCloud, or maybe it's, I don't know, like a long show, whether it be like virtual or in person. So I don't know, maybe a compilation album isn't the way to go, because that was the most stressful thing to try to coordinate. But I don't know. The future's up in the air, but I know it will happen. It's one of those things where it's like, what's the medium? We'll figure it out. So
yeah, I think that the medium is totally kind of like changeable in terms of what works and what is going to be receptive to the audience kind of out there. But it's just, I just think it's a really great project.
I'm in love with it. And like the covers that were on this volume, like the Born This Way cover is so good. Like I remember I was at work and I got Julia's like demo for her Born This Way cover, and I like, it was my first week at work too, so I had no idea who these people were, but I was literally just in my chair, like training with my boss across from me. And I was just like, like so excited. So yeah, I'm in love with that project.
Gregory, how's your mom? How's your mom?
she's good. Actually, that's not her voice at all. I was just in Staten Island. She was helping me film for the next single, which is all about like a housewife from the 60s. So that's my 60s smoker housewife. What do you want? What
I
do you
just
want, niece?
I got pseudo introduced to Gregory's mom very very briefly one
She's a
day
star. She was
when
an
we were doing
angel.
our Insta live, and she was with you, so she was just kind of in the background. So I like to check in to make sure she's doing well.
Right now, she's probably like arranging some pink flamingos that she got from the dollar store in her bathroom. I could put a lot of money on that.
Well, you know what? There are worse things that you could be doing.
Oh, I think it's a great project.
So we're looking at from you another single in about a couple of weeks, you said.
This is another big one. I'm so excited. This track was written a year ago, and it's about being like a 60s housewife locked up in their home. And it's just really funny and ironic that we're now all stuck at home. I think the song has just so much more random alignment with what's happening. So I'm very excited to kind of jump into that.
What's the sound? Is it similar to Pink Ferrari in terms of a plastic Ferrari instead of?
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of like, I feel like when I was writing or producing that track, Kim Petras was just like her first like set of 8 singles was on my mind. So I feel like it's very still Kim Petras. It's very summer euphoric pop music. So I wasn't sure to hold it or release it, but I just knew that this was like, I think summertime was the right time for this particular track.
And Zach, what about you? When are we going to see new solo Zach Benson? Because you haven't had a solo song out since New Year's Eve.
Yeah, the plan right now is that I have been wanting to put out like an 8-track project for the last like year or so, and I want to say 85% done with the music on it. There's one track I need to record vocals for and get that mixed and mastered, but I currently have 2 songs in the back burner that are like completely mastered and completely done. So it's just sort of a matter of, and both of those songs feel very album, like they don't feel very single ready. So I don't know. We're still deciding on like dates and times and all that, but as soon as that one track gets finished, then we're all going to be good to go.
I'm so curious if I know which, like, I don't know if you want to drop titles, but after you'll have to show me, because I think I know which one you're talking about, but I'm not
Yeah.
certain.
I think you know which one I'm talking about too, but I'll give you the rundown later.
You know, summer is, and I guess you guys are kind of the boys of summer in a way. When I think about summer music, and I think about some of the artists that are out there putting out music or whatnot, you guys definitely come to mind because your music is so fun, and it's so, you guys yourselves are so much fun, and you just bring such a light to the streams that are out there. I don't know anybody who I introduce your music to who don't go, oh my God, this is so much fun. Like, or they just really, really enjoy it. I guess a question for both of you is, because you're young, because you're DIY artists, because, the world is your oyster, if you really, really, that whole kind of thought process. How do you, this world is so difficult. How do you measure success for yourselves? I've been asking a lot of people this because this pandemic has given us a lot of time to think about how we manage our own expectations, I guess. Trying to get stuff out, but not being able to be physically in front of people to see what the reaction is like, having to just rely on the reaction from people who are saying things online, but people are so invested in their own selves, they're not necessarily, as there's something about the being in front of a physical crowd and getting that, response back that gives you some sense of, how this is being received. So right now for you, how do you manage that kind of expectation of success, and what does it look like for you right now?
Greg, you want to take this one first?
Oh.
I got to think about this.
Yeah, I'll go. I mean, there's a couple of different, I had a counselor once who was like, life is like a flower of petals, and you have to remember, like, your artistry is like one little petal to a bigger whole. And I too try to remember that, because I would say right now I'm doing like 30 days straight with like 2 days off, and like it's just music, music, music. But success for me is, am I being 100% myself, like sinking deeper into who I am? Then that just expands outside of music. I think secondly, thinking about input and not the results, and like stepping away from any kind of comparison. It's so easy for me to say, let me look at like another Spotify profile. Let me see how they're doing. What are their stats? Like, what's this Instagram account? And I have been really good about just like snapping out of that mentality, because that just is like a toxic quality. And then I think third for me, it's like, I'm not in front of an audience anymore, which is, I do miss it, but you still get glimpses with social media. Like, I'm so grateful for having a digital platform, because I've been getting a lot more interaction with fans that I do not really like know where they are, but I'm still seeing like that love, that angel club, like come together. I'm really grateful for that kind of time. It's sometimes a little bit much, because I'm not a person who likes to 24/7 be connected to the internet, but I'm also like, thank God I have that, because that is in a way like a really nice byproduct of like, you get to still engage. I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything. That was really sweet. And like, I feel like I learned something about you and about how I should be measuring success as well. So shout out to that, first of all.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure you would say the same. Like, it's just so easy to have. I mean, we're all so close friends, but at the same time, like, I'll be honest, like, I'll go Spotify, Google someone else that I know, and I'm like, sometimes like looking at their monthly listeners, and it's just like,
Same.
it's not really healthy, because we're all literally trying so hard and giving people so much like amazing gifts to listen to.
Yeah.
So
And I think I've learned that in terms of like measuring success against like numbers and things online, because there are so many different ways that you can like gain an audience if you're just focusing on the numbers. Like, some people have a certain amount of monthly listeners, but they might have more Instagram followers, and then on Twitter they have this, and then someone else has more of that, but they don't have that, and they don't have that, or someone else has this and this, but they don't have, and it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, what are you measuring to be like the deeming quality of like how good the music is? And it should just be like the music. Like, my favorite artist growing up, and I was like that obnoxious like hipster kid who was like, I know this person and they only have this many like whatever, and I discovered them, and that's like so exciting to me. And sometimes I will feel a sense of like disappointment if I discover someone and they have like X amount of streams or X amount of this, because I'm like, oh, everyone else already knows about them. And so I'm like, why do I then feel as though it's the opposite for me, where I want people to see that I'm like doing really well, or I want myself to have all these like different things, when I discover an artist that has like, a few thousand monthly listeners or a few thousand streams, I'm like so excited about it. And I'm like, I can't believe I just found this person. Like, so I don't know. It's, in terms of numbers, it's very that, but just in terms of like the musical success, I just want to keep like topping myself with every song that I write or everything that I produce. I think I just want to see a continual improvement over the things that I've released. And as long as I'm doing that, then I don't care about, the numbers of it all. Like, Kissing as the Cars Pass By is my number one song, and that was like the first song I wrote. But I do think I've written better songs, but I'm not like sad that it's the number one, if that makes sense. So for me, it's just like trying to, like you said, get out of that numbers game and just focus on the music aspect of it, which I think I have. So
Healthy approaches for that, because I know that it must be a tug at you as artists, especially because you want to be successful, and you want to, I mean, you're not kind of like, I'm a weekend artist and on the weekends I do this. You're really pushing things to be full-time artists, and that's kind of what you want to get to.
Oh my God. Speaking of being a full-time artist, I'm sorry to cut you off. My break for work is over in 5 minutes, so I'm gonna have to cut this off in a second.
yeah.
Fantastic. And thank you for joining me on here today. I'm excited to kind of see everything that comes next, as I always am. And I'm looking forward to more collabs, but also the solo stuff.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to your new single, Greg, coming out in a few weeks. Everybody stream it.
Yes, I'm so glad to be bad with you, Zach. Get your tush over back to New York. I'm counting down the days.
My tush is on its way, but only the tush.
All right, so Gregory Dillon, Zach Benson, brand new single out. It's called Mischief. It is available on all streaming platforms. You need to go find it. You need to go listen to it. You need to follow these guys on social media and love them because they're fantastic.
Love us.
Thank you, Penny, for the lovely words.
Always. Gentlemen, I return you to your lives that I stole you from, and thank you so much.